Third world populations are exploding, but European people aren't having kids. Well, not like third world and non-white populations. Our people are not even replacing themselves with mini-me's. While certain groups openly rejoice in white people declining and think their group is genetically superior and that white people are somehow broken because they don't have 8 kids, the root cause is far more complex, but also very obvious. Reasons why white people aren't having kids. Number 1. Feminism. So-called liberated women have chosen to prioritize school and a career over a family. And even the women that try to do both don't have many kids, and if they do, they're usually stressed out. 2. Climate change propaganda. For years, fake environmentalists blasted messages telling us that it's immoral to have more than one child. They still do, even though we aren't even replacing ourselves. And in fact, you should do your part to save the planet by not having any kids at all. This message, as seen on countless magazine covers and articles, always features white babies in the image. Yet they don't discourage large families among non-Europeans in the West or the third world populations. No, it's immoral to not let them have a big family living it up in the Western world with lots of stuff.
Greece is good, but Greece is no give me home and no have food. I stay here, like one year I stay here, and no give me home, no nothing here. I want to go another country.
In my opinion, 80% of the Syrians will stay here in Sweden. When I was in Syria, actually I had just a Nokia, like a cheap phone. But now I have an iPhone. Here we have like money, job, school.
3. Progressive globalist propaganda has been constantly programming the child-free life to white women. You see it on magazine covers and TV shows constantly. Kids are misery and they hold you down. The child-free life is freedom and a constant party. Sex in the City is where it's at. Yeah, just wait until these women are old and alone.
The birth rate in the United States has been in free fall for years, recently hitting the lowest level ever in American history. That means now about 1 out of every 5 women in their early 40s chooses not to have a child. In more and more cases, it's because women are choosing not to have children because their careers or their lifestyles or because they just don't want to. And the trend is now the focus of the latest issue of Time magazine. You see the headline here, The Child-Free Life. I'm going to start with Radhika because you have chosen not to have children, as I have. When I think back through my life, and I've never wanted to have children, even when I was a child. So I think, well, why would I want to have children? Like, oh, so they can take care of me in my old age. But that's selfish to me.
4. This one just doesn't make sense to me, but it's true for many people. The West has become wealthy and comfortable.
Oh yeah, give me some. Cut me a piece. Oh, you just go away, baiting!
Generally, wealthy people have less kids. They should be having at least 5 as they could easily afford it. Instead, an abundance of materialism usually makes them have fewer children. 5. On the other hand, I hear white people tell me, it's too expensive, they can't afford it. This one I hate hearing. If your struggling, pioneering ancestor said this, you wouldn't be alive. Yes, I know non-Europeans come to our nations, easily claim victim status, get welfare, and have 4 kids. And I know it's much harder for us to get help, but you can make it happen. You don't have to buy all the stuff you think you do. Chances are that you spend that money elsewhere already. Poor white people have always had many kids, and this was before welfare. 6. The most important and damaging reason of all, white guilt. We are being programmed to hate ourselves, hate our ancestors, and feel shame for being who we are. We're told all white people are racist and that mythical white privilege and white supremacy is holding back world peace. All of these are disgusting, hateful lies, but they have done damage in the psyche of white people, starting from a young age. We've been blasted with messages like this. White nuclear families uphold white supremacy. Wanting to preserve your heritage and have children that look like you is racism and world war. So we should welcome and celebrate white people dying out. Celebrate our extinction from the face of the earth.
Whites will not be the majority.
Whiteness is a form of racial oppression.
New Sweden emerging. The immigration
process coming to Europe is irreversible.
It's an exciting transformation of the country.
An unrelenting stream of immigration. Non-stop.
There can be no white race without the phenomenon of white supremacy.
Sweden is destined to become a multiracial, multicultural society.
And the wave still continues. It's not going to stop. Nor should we want it to stop.
Treason to whiteness is loyalty to humanity.
At this point in time, Europe has not yet learned how to be multicultural.
Folks like me who are Caucasian of European descent, for the first time in 2017, will be in an absolute minority.
The task is to bring this minority together in such a way that it makes it impossible for the legacy of whiteness to continue to reproduce itself.
Absolute minority. Fewer than 50% of the people in America, from then and on, will be white European stock.
My concern is doing away with whiteness.
That's not a bad thing. That's a source of our strength.
And I think we're going to be part of the throes of that transformation, which must take place.
It's one of the things I think we can be most proud of.
Europe is not going to be the monolithic societies that they once were in the last century.
Not exactly an ideal condition for bringing up white children, is it? 7. More globalist lies, such as Western civilization wasn't created by Europeans, not by white people. Race doesn't exist. It's all a social construct. So open the borders and welcome your replacements, the new Europeans. Once you're a minority in your nation, nothing will change because people are all the same. Everything will go on as usual. No, in fact, it will be even better if there are less of you. Not exactly a healthy environment that inspires and encourages white people to have a family, is it? 8. Most parents aren't encouraging their daughters to get married and start a family in their 20s. They don't even motivate why this is important and how it will make them fulfilled. If they do want their kids to have kids, they usually say, well, wait until after school. It should be the other way around. 9. Our European governments are also not encouraging white people, their own nation, their own population, to have more children.
Stupid nationalists.
With the exception of Hungary, Russia, Poland, Denmark, places like Germany definitely don't. In fact, they say it's good their own people disappear because, the Nazis. But then say, we need these third world populations of rocket scientists to take care of you when you're old. Don't incentivize having children among your own people, but instead bring in completely foreign and needy people from elsewhere, because that's going to work out great. 10. The future isn't white. We're constantly told that this is inevitable, like a bad voodoo mind trick, that white people are going to die out, so just embrace it and rejoice. It's for the best that people like you don't exist.
This is not going to be the country of white people.
And you can speed that along by having kids who don't look like you. Forget the environment and all that now, because no white people means cleaner air. Mixed race populations in the West are going to save it. Again, incredibly hateful. 11. Multiculturalism, diversity, and immigration. Our societies are less cohesive, less safe, and the hostility against white people is through the roof. This doesn't make white people want to have big families, but in reality, it should give them every reason to have one. 12. I'm going to add religion in this list. European people are less Christian and definitely less pagan, and this factors into fertility rates. It's why Muslims and Catholic Hispanics are having the biggest families in the West, with the exception of some European Catholics, Amish, and Mormons. 13. I know this rings true for many white couples who wish to have more kids. We've lost our village, our tribe, and our large extended families. We've become isolated and lost a folk community to count on, to help each other out, to back each other up. Once that changes, so will birth rates. The fact is, several of these things that I mentioned fall under the UN's definition of genocide. Don't believe me? Let's take a look. In the present convention, genocide means any of the following acts committed with intent to destroy, in whole or in part, a national, ethnical, racial, or religious group as such. Causing serious mental harm to members of the group. Yes, definitely happening, and some physical, which people deny. Deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction in whole or in part. Yes, happening. Measures intended to prevent births within the group. Yes, happening. So it's no surprise, considering these factors, that white birth rates are low. Duh, it's not organic but done by design. White people have lost their confidence and loyalty as a group. White globalists have made their own people enemy number one. They've become cannibals infected by a parasite, and they are completely blind to the hardship they are creating for our children. But of course, the most important thing, a lot of you watching are having many children, and all of this can be very temporary. It's up to you. Numbers will change. Don't let anybody lie and say it's not possible. Populations ebb and flow, decline, and can make a major comeback. That rise, that comeback is in our future, so get on it.
You